Javier-Cerulli, and I'm the author of Our Archetypes and Art Journaling, or Art Journaling Your Archetypes. The title is still being decided with the editor. And I'm here with Nathalie. Say hi, Nathalie.
Hi, so good to be here. Hi, Gabrielle. How are you?
Good. So Nathalie is in my book. I handpicked the most loving, soulful, interesting, creative people on the planet, and Nathalie is one of them. So Nathalie, can you please tell the folks who you are and what you do and where you are, because they may assume one thing and it's not true.
Are you picking on my accent?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Nathalie Kalbach. I'm a self-taught mixed media artist, and I'm originally from, I guess you guys guessed it already, Germany, now living in Jersey City in New Jersey. And I do teach a lot of workshops, often online, mixed media based, art journaling, painting, probably nowadays mostly art journaling. And I do stamps and stencil designs, and I'm writing a book right now. So,
Well, that's news to me. What's the book?
I don't know if I can talk about the title yet.
Is it fiction or art technique book?
Yeah, it's a mixed media book.
Okay.
Same publisher, and it's going to be in the widest sense about inspiration. Okay. And it's going to be out next year in June. So it's a long way, as you know yourself too.
Yes. I found you through your stencils and stamps. Do you have any examples of those?
Yeah, I do.
These are old now. It's so funny.
I don't have their stamps right now, the stencils right now, but I got new sets with Stampendous, and these
are a new one.
Yeah, these are foam stamp, rubber stamp, and stencil sets. So there's a urban scribble, and here's an elephant, which I also have a stencil with Stencil Girls, actually, a different one. But here's the foam stamp, and again, it also has a stencil. And then we have a little bird. So here's the foam stamp and the rubber stamp.
Nice.
And the stencils are fronts, which are hard to see in the packaging. And last but not least, this is like mostly for art journaling. I like to use like magazine images in my art journaling pages. And this was like a reminiscence of my youth where I loved to play with paper dolls. So you can stack their stamps and dress that girl up, or, you know, do whatever you want with it.
She's sassy. She's a very sassy one. Her archetypes would be Rebel and Queen. I think Rebel Queen is what she is.
I hope that, I don't think Queen was an archetype of mine, though. I think I had the Rebel, which I really liked.
Oh, yeah. You don't have the Queen. Your stamp has the Queen.
Yes.
Actually, and while we're talking about your online classes, do you also do live classes?
Oh, you mean like a Ustream, or you mean in-person classes?
Yeah, like workshop, like conferences and workshops.
Right. I'm actually doing a little bit less this year, actually almost nothing because of the book, but I'm traveling next month in 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks with my friend Julie Pfeiffer-Belzer to Australia. And we're teaching art journal workshops in Melbourne and in Sydney. And then I'm also doing an event which is called Art Journaling Live, free in Texas, Arlington, at the scrapbooking, Great American Scrapbooking Convention, and that's by F&W, and it's a workshop with 3 other artists, and it's live, and then it will be recorded as a DVD. So if you can't make it live as a student, then you can still stream it or watch the videos or DVDs later. So that's basically most of it. I also teach at Pratt here in New York at the continuing education program, which I find very important personally. And that's a lot of fun too, because that's, you know, bringing the mixed media world a little bit to people that don't really know so much about it yet.
Right. So then, what drew you to my book, to being part of the art journaling with your Archetypes book?
Yeah, I found that was a really, really interesting. I mean, I heard about Jung, and how do you say that in English? Actually, Jung.
Jung.
I would say it. Do you
Jung.
say Jung?
That's Jung.
Yes. So you still say Jung in America. That's good. So I heard about it. It wasn't something that I, ventured too much into, and I heard about their archetypes too. And so I found it interesting when you were saying, let's do an interview and find out who you are, and what are your decision making, like what could be the reasons for it, for the way how you live and how you decide and how you do your artwork through archetypes. And I found that was very interesting. And so, yeah, I was very, noisy.
Yeah, noisy. But there was an intrigue, and you'll find out in the book, but some of Nathalie's archetypes are, we said rebel, but also pioneer, liberator. So there was this she's moved around, she has her own business, but there's also, and that means that she is, she's in her position right now because of her archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
It has, and she's a teacher too,
Mm-hmm.
/ mentor. So this all makes sense of why she can do successfully online classes and have different product lines, and still be an actual working artist. So that's very inspiring to the rest of the world there. Were there any surprises for your archetypes when you found out?
It all made sense. Like, when you read like a pioneer, that makes sense, or mentor and rebel, that made sense too, comedian. The only thing that judge made sense too, but it was not a surprise, but it was kind of like, oh, that makes sense that I was a paralegal before, but I became a full-time artist. And I think I'm also, although I sometimes claim to be not, but I'm also very judgmental and opinionated. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense that you chose that career path and, first, or yeah. So it wasn't a surprise, but it was kind of like something that I would have not thought that it would come out in their interview. Let's put it.
Right, because it was just validating, and that's what I like. That's what it is. It's like, oh, because for 20 some years you could have been a banker, or I don't know, you sell a baker. You could have been something else, but you went into paralegal because of these guiding energies.
Right.
And so then, in your opinion, why do you think art journaling and archetypes go well together?
Yeah, I think it is a great trigger to think about more about yourself, like not in a selfish way, but like kind of, it depends. I mean, an art journal, in my opinion, can be anything you want it to be. So some people journal a lot. I do actually not journal a lot in terms of writing text, but I do pick colors and imagery and quotes that go with certain things that I'm thinking about or situations. Mm-hmm. But I do not go too much into the way of why I am what I am. And I think that this is a great trigger to kind of like think about that and then embrace it and enhance it through art journaling. So it's a great trigger and starting point to think about the different, archetypes that are yours, and then bring that out in your art journaling process. And it could be an art journal just, actually dedicated to those archetypes, which is a great idea. No, I want to do that.
In your free time, Nathalie, right? We'll collaborate in 2025 to do that book.
Well, I think it is important, even though I mean, we all are super crazy busy all the time. But I think what's so wonderful about art journaling is that you really can only spend like 5 or 10 minutes, per day. It doesn't, you are the boss of your art journal, and decide, what you do with it. And even like 5 or 10 minutes, I feel like every morning is a great way, to get into the day and kind of like feel that you did something creative. And so I think something where you use those archetypes and you're thinking about yourself, just like take these 10 minutes for yourself and do something with a theme, that is a great way to get yourself going.
Right, because this book is going to be interesting because it's going to introduce the archetypal work to seasoned art journalers, and then art journaling to the seasoned personal development folks who already know all about the archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like a nice marriage for two different groups that might not have been married before.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is a great idea, actually. And I mean, like, there's so much also about like self-discovery, right, in art journaling, and then also a lot of art therapists use it. I have a lot of people often in my classes that are working with people that have been through a lot of terrible things in their life, or even, also with veterans. I had people in my classes that work with veterans that had some terrible experiences. With children, so that's a great way. I mean, like, think about like, where do I come from, in a way of like, how did I develop, how did I come to certain decisions, and then trying to do that in a more visual way. That's not necessarily like I have to write an essay about, my life or my person or whatever. So I think it's a great way to, combine these things with art journaling and your approach of their archetypes.
Nathalie, would you say your classes and most of your sessions, is it mostly process oriented or product oriented, or combination?
It's usually process oriented, because I feel that the process is, for me personally, it's about the process. It's not about the outcome. And I always say in my classes, the thing that screws us up most in our life is the picture in our head, meaning that most of us are very, we have to be perfect in so many different parts of our lives, whether it be in our jobs, whether it be as a mother, the partner, a friend, we always strive for perfection, and we have these like not weird, but you know what I mean, like kind of like ideas of how perfect should look like. And a lot of times when you teach in a class, and also, I mean, I have that too sometimes, I'm painting, I want to paint a picture, like the one in the background, for example, there's a picture that I'm trying to paint. And I have an idea of how that should look like. And then when you work, it usually, whether it be skills or for other reasons, it doesn't look like that. And then the process becomes actually kind of like something that isn't that much fun anymore. And I think it's so important for us that with a hobby or something that we love, that's art or creating, we're not ruining that for ourselves with this like perfection striving. And actually, the more you just indulge in the process and you just like let it go, the more you are you collect like your skills, you're getting more skillful, and then the rest will just come by itself, and then you actually get closer to that picture that you don't have in your head anymore.
Right. Or the picture will change.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. Well, thank you. And how can people find you, Nathalie?
Yeah, they can find me on my website. It's called nathaliestudio.com, and or on Facebook also, Nathalie Studio. But if you go on my website, you can find me there. And I also wanted to say thank you, Gabrielle, so much for having me contributing to your wonderful book and doing the interview with me. That was so much fun.
Oh, good. Thank you for having the time and to hang out with us. And we're doing this live on Google Hangouts live on air. So this was no script. So you guys got it all right. A raw feed right now.
When is your book coming out?
July.
Woohoo!
I know. It's very exciting. And it's a process. It's a wonderful process. You know, everybody who knows F&W or Northlight books, they're technique books, and they're about this thick. So you think that they don't take that long, but it's quite a journey, just for everyone to know. It's not an overnight kind of process. So thank you so much. And oh, Nathalie, one more time. Can you spell your website? Because I don't think everybody would know to put the H in there.
Yeah, I know. So it's NATHALIESSTUDIU.
All righty. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.